it's bad. The numbers are bad. 9.1% inflation is unacceptably high. But they say that, these are out of date figures that don't reflect the full impact. So for this, we wanted to go to the only person that we know is going to give us the straight, not shaken, the story on this. Our friend Carol Roth, who is a former investment banker. She's a television pundit, host, New York Times bestselling author. Her book, The War on Small Business, is a must read. Carol, first off, it's lovely to see you. I'm so happy you're here with us, and thank you for joining us. I have got to get your reaction to Brian Deese's spin here.
Yeah, well, first, you call me this truth teller, and normally I like to keep it 100, Dana, but right now with inflation, I can only keep it 77. So, take this all with a grain of salt. I mean, I was reliably informed by the adults that this is the best economy ever. So I'm not really sure what you're worried about. This is amazing. I'm trying to bring some levity to this because it is just infuriating. It is so depressing. This is your dollars, your listeners' dollars, my dollars that everybody has worked hard for, that they've done the right thing, they've saved, they've invested. And these people, these central planners who are so smart and know better, have done nothing but destroyed what you have worked for. So now you are working for longer, for less than before. You can look forward or you can look backward, but when you go to pay for something, you're getting less no matter what way that you're looking. And everybody should be absolutely furious about it. And the fact that they're just trying to gaslight everybody, I'm just not sure what the strategy is, because people know when they go to the gas station, when they go to buy food, when they're trying to pay their rent, they understand what's happening when they're writing those checks or giving out those credit cards. So I just don't get the gaslighting here.
Yeah, you can't lie to people about what's in their bank accounts. And I just can't get over that the best that they have is, well, these are backward-looking numbers. That's how this always is. I mean, they tell you what happened the previous month, and then it's sometimes revised up or revised down. I think they said, that, like, for instance, at the beginning of the month, I think they were expecting like an 8.8 and it's 8.3%. Still, it's ridiculous. But now we're at 9.1%. But that's how this works.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it backwards looking, but okay, let's look forward then. What do we have to look forward to next time? If it's not 9.1, if it comes back to 8.6% increase year over year. And by the way, this number, as we know, has been fudged with. The real number that you're actually feeling is about double that. And your wages have not kept up with that inflation. It doesn't matter, again, if you look backwards or look forwards, there's nowhere we can look and not see a train that's coming at us in terms of a really difficult economic environment. And the worst part is that it was all completely avoidable. This was all done by central planning decisions that did not need to be taken by people who are either decoupled with reality, who are intentionally trying to destroy America, or perhaps a little bit of both, because there is no other explanation. And we have to let these people who don't live in reality go somewhere else. They cannot be in charge of multi-trillion-dollar decisions that impacts our livelihoods.
Yes, and that's a huge thing. I was looking, American households faced nearly $500 in additional expenses in June just because of the super high inflation. And as Carol, we're talking with Carol Roth, and as Carol was just saying, I mean, it's really double this. I mean, it's really double the 9.1% that we're feeling. An extra $500 in additional expenses. And then to add insult to injury, we've got with Trone out of, what was he out of, did I say? Ohio? I don't know. He's one of these, I'm just going to be straight about it. He's one of these morons who's, he's got a D after his name. And he's saying, the problem is that we don't have any bipartisanship. Carol, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, 15, 16 months ago, there was a spending bill that was passed that Republicans were not invited to contribute to or ask questions on or make deductions to or anything like that. That made this all exponentially worse.
And it could have been even worse on top of that if you didn't have Joe Manchin, who decided that Build Back Better was really Build Back Broke. you would have had trillions more on top of this. I mean, these are the same people who passed a bill in March of last year to send out stimulus checks. Now, the word is stimulus. And they said, no, that's not stimulating the economy. It wasn't the thing that was called stimulus that is stimulating it. Like what world are these people living in? And they just want to keep spending more dollars. I mean, we saw this over the past couple of weeks in California. They are going to send out inflation relief checks. Does this scream that I have absolutely no idea on what's causing inflation when you think that sending checks to people is going to help combat inflation in a supply-constrained economy? I just want to go around and slap people.
We need to have that as a soundbite. We just need to have that. And whenever we feel like it, we're going to play it. It's going to be a new stinger as well. Talking with Carol Roth, who investment banker, New York Times bestselling author. Her book, The War on Small Business. You got to read it because there's a lot of stuff you're not learning or hearing about in the media. Carol, too, the thing with this, and I understand, this is just thrown out as such justification for this mess, but it didn't have to be this way. We had an economy, the world's biggest economy, which should never have been shut down. No country's economy should have been shut down. But even after coming out of that, if we would have just been smart with fiscal policy, if we would have just been smart about it instead of a hard veer to the left, this is all a self-inflicted wound.
Yeah, I mean, mistakes have been made all along the way. And, we faced something that people hadn't seen before. People panic. And like you said, if they had just gone, we probably shouldn't have done that, but let's let bygones be bygones and turn things around, things would have been different. Even the Federal Reserve, back in March of 2020, when they started this emergency policy, they had to lower interest rates and they had to add trillions of dollars to their balance sheet. It was to support the market because it was an emergency. But less than 3 months later, June 5th of 2020, the NASDAQ hit a historic record high. So obviously that's telling you don't need emergency support, but yet we went on for, months and months up until actually 2 months after we had hit a 40-year high in inflation before they pulled back that support. And I still don't know that they've done anything with their balance sheet that they said that they were going to do. We didn't have to have the American Rescue Plan. Biden didn't have to send out Biden dollars. You're paying very dearly for that, $1,000 or whatever it was check that you had. The energy policy, they did a bad thing there, but they could reverse course on that any day now. And they just keep doubling down on bad policy because they don't believe in reality or because they want to destroy us. Or, as I said, a little bit of both.
Yeah, likely a little bit of both. And now they're proposing additional spending on top of it. Democrats are saying that they've got stuff in the works. So we just need to, we need to spend a little bit more and we need to raise taxes because that's going to help us, make ends meet. I am not an economist. I am not an investment banker. I do not have the vast financial expertise that you do. I did take a semester of Econ 101 in college. And I just remember that was one of the things that we learned. When you are in a recession, and I mean, that's really what we're in, the last thing that you do is raise taxes.
Yeah, it's, certainly there is a case to be made that if you were trying to control inflation, that taking money away from people and they can't spend it is one way to control inflation, but not if you're going to give it back to the government to increase spending and have them spend it. Yes. Net, that's the same spending. And then, adding on the additional debt because we know that they're never just going to spend what they're allocated. Yeah, every policy is just at odds with each other. You have the Fed who's trying to, quote unquote, cool demand, which means slow down the economy at the same time as, you've got the other folks here go, no, we need to put more money out and spend more money to cool the economy or something. I mean, it's like, if you remember South Park, the underpants gnomes,
yes.
And they're like their three-step process of, steel underpants, profit. I feel like that is the level of strategy that we're talking about here from people who are making massive decisions, and they should not have the authority to make those massive decisions and to play God with the economy.
And Carol is touching on this headline that I saw, a severe recession needed to cool inflation, Bank of America analysts say, which that was stunning to me, that headline. There's so many other ways to go about this without severe severe recession
that they created. I mean, that's the amazing thing. We're going to burn your house down. Then we're going to give you $1 to save it. But that's not enough for you to build it back. But then we're going to say that we saved your house. I mean, the mental gymnastics. I want to give out a gold medal for mental gymnastics, because that's what we're getting from these people who are supposed to be experts. And it would be hilariously funny if it was not costing you. And here's the thing that just kills me, Dana, is this is coming on the back of the average American. These are the people who are going to have to curtail their spending. They're going to have to dip into their savings. They're going to have to increase their credit cards. Their 401ks are going where. They're going to be flushed out of the market. And all of these very well-capitalized elites, when this all goes to where, are going to come in as vulture capitalists, buy everything up at cents on the dollar, and then they're going to, do this all again to inflate all of the assets again. This is an epic, historic wealth transfer, and, much of it is by design.
That's a really great point, too. And this is one of the things that we've talked about before. It is a wealth transfer, and it's moving everyone towards owning nothing. Own nothing, and you'll be happy. But that's not how it goes. I don't think Karl Marx said that, but he should have. Carol Roth, author of The War on Small Business. Go and get her book out on HarperCollins and get it through like Books A Million, or don't get it on Amazon. Not because I dislike Amazon, because they won't count it on bestseller lists if you do that. They count it for less than, which is they're such a scam. Carol, God love you. Love to see you. Thank you so much for your expertise on this. We are grateful for your sanity. Good to see you.
Back at you. See you soon.